pleasure to have our next guest on, whether he's chairman of CTA or not. He's always a fun guy with his pulse on this industry for a lot of years and involved in very many companies. He is, in fact, the chairman of the Consumer Technology Association, formerly known as the Consumer Electronics Association, and the CEO of Star Companies, Daniel Pidgeon. Dan, welcome back into Tomorrow. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm so honored to be here on the 21st. I mean, how appropriate is that it's the 21st anniversary show in Las Vegas?
Exactly.
It's got to be a lucky show, right?
I'd like to think Lady Luck is with us, at least the
Absolutely.
past 20 years here at CES, and certainly this year. And we thank you for not only kicking off our broadcast for not only these next 3 hours today, but the next 3 weeks' worth of shows, talking to as many of your 3,600-plus exhibitors that we can get on the show in 9 hours overall. And what a show it is. So you've got to be pumped as the chairman of the whole big picture here.
I really am. I mean, this is my last year as chairman, and this is my last CES as chairman. And so this is...
But not your last appearance on our show.
I hope not.
Mark my words.
I hope not.
Absolutely.
But this is, I mean, well, how terrific is this? I mean, there's such an energy here. And, every year you always think, how can it get better? How can it get better? But already, I mean, just walking through the energy level is just so much on a different level than it was even last year.
Yeah. And yet, so many cool new products, too. Some 20,000-plus new products every year that are introduced to the marketplace. Unfortunately, marketing being the way it is, some don't ever make it to market. But CES is kind of the true test, where you get buyers and analysts and us media types and others that are saying, yeah, that might be a miss, and then they finally realize, all right, maybe we don't want to, produce 100,000 of these because they're not going to be as popular. Or let's work on version 2.0 already, because a lot of CES is networking too.
No, there's a couple things that come to mind. Number one is you're absolutely right, 20,000 products, but it's even beyond products. It's now you're dealing with content. You're dealing with even in the automotive industry, it's more about the stage for innovation than it is about the actual product themselves. And in listening to Brian Krasanich last night at the keynote as he kicked off the evening before CES. In listening to what consumers really want, and it's true, is they want an experience. They don't want a product.
Yeah.
And so it's all about delivering an experience, in an experience that's unique and important to you.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, products get to be made. So when you consider that, look at how many things have to come to market before you actually get something that is useful. Take the drug companies or any of these other industries that, they put out all of these things to get it right.
Yeah.
So, when you see 20,000 products, yes, not all these products will necessarily come to market, but the ones that do will be life-changing.
Yeah, that's very true, and has been the case, certainly over the many years that CES exists. We've seen in our 20 years amazing changes, and I think our first year, the big thing was this new thing coming out called DVD. And it was like, woo, and everybody was excited, and that was kind of the way that goes. But you bring up, Dan, such an important point about a lot of your newest members, as a matter of fact, over the last couple of years while you've chaired the organization, have been companies that have no physical product anyway. In fact, the incoming chairman from Boingo, Dave Hagan, they don't have a device. Theirs is a service, Wi-Fi all around the world, and so many others that have joined. I mean, Google and Lyft and various and sundry companies that don't have devices. It's because, as you said, consumers are looking for services. Provide for me what I need, however you do it. Fine, if it's a device, I'll look at it and hopefully buy it, whatever. But so many other companies, thus the name change as well, right? From Consumer Electronics Association to Consumer Technology Association.
Exactly. I mean, it's a broad umbrella now, and it's about innovation. It's about what can we do to improve lives? What can we do to make people's lives better? And whether it be in an actual physical product, or whether it be in some technology, or whether it be in your health, or fitness, or all of these things. I mean, it doesn't take much to walk around here and just see that this doesn't look anything like a CES show did 10 years ago.
That's for sure. That's a very good point. And for example, Reed Hastings, CEO of Netflix, right? His keynote, some interesting announcements there from Netflix, and again, another example of a service being provided, not a device.
Yeah, that he was. We talked this morning. We saw him there giving his keynote, and he talked about the same thing. It's he went in developing Netflix.
Yeah.
When developing Netflix, he looked at it from the standpoint of why should a consumer of content have to abide by somebody else's schedule? And so, they're the creator of binge watching. So
yes,
this is
very true.
This is what they did, and people just love it. I know I love it. I mean, somebody that has a busy schedule, you want to watch things when you want to watch things, and so you look at what they've done. They've become a global cable network, or network, I guess.
Sure.
It wouldn't be cable. I wouldn't give them that name necessarily.
Yeah, that's kind of a cut.
right. But a global network. In fact, they even announced today that other than China, they're in virtually every other country as of right now. They did it during the keynote. They launched it as we're there. So that's breaking news for you here for your listeners.
Very cool. So literally a worldwide provider.
Exactly.
And that's got to make all the Netflix folks happy because they've worked hard to do that. But I like how you say they invented binge watching, and they did. I mean, how many of us sit down with whatever cool series we like and we watch the whole year's worth? Now, you can't do that on network television unless it's past stuff.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
They've made not only a name for themselves, but as a content provider too. Whoever would have thought? And I know Reed, we've had him on the show over the years, would never have thought years ago that they would be like the likes of an HBO or a network in providing original content. It was like, no, we get the content and share it. No, they've spent a fortune in original content that has made an incredible name, more so for them. So
that gets back to what I said originally, which is, they're providing what consumers want. They're providing the experiences that consumers want. And if companies do that, they're going to be successful in this new world.
Very true. Well, in our remaining 30 seconds before we clear the way to have many of your exhibitors on the program, what's got you most pumped on the actual first day of CES as we sit and chat?
Well, I have to tell you that, opening up my eyes in this health and fitness world and this communicated devices, IoT is obviously very, very important to me personally, to our industry. But looking at the next generation of products that actually interact with IoT and making that important, that's what really is
and
kind
of course,
captivating.
Internet of Things.
Internet
for those
of Things,
that might not yet be familiar, I think it's a goofy name, but in the long run, we're talking about so many things to connect our life to the world.
Right. I mean, if you keep it simple, which is helpful for me, if you keep it simple, it's basically taking ordinary products and connecting them so they communicate with other devices.
Yeah.
If you live with that definition and you try to keep that in a box, then a lot of the things that unfold kind of make sense. And there's some exciting times there in making sure that these products talk to each other in a way that the experience matters to the consumer. Those are the things that excite me. The other things, the new technology, if it doesn't mean anything to the customer experience, it doesn't mean anything to me. But I think just the opposite is happening here, and I think our industry has embraced that. Certainly the people here that are showing at CES this year understand that it's about the experience, not necessarily the product.
Yeah, for sure. Dan, always hitting the nail on the head. And see, that's why I promise you, if you'll come back, we'll have you on the show regardless of the fact that you'll be past chair of CTA.
I would be honored.
Terrific. CTA.tech for more information about what Dan does in terms of leading this association into tomorrow. See what I did there? A little bit. But star-power.com for what he does in real life, in his spare time. Do check that out. A whole list of companies doing some very cool things, especially with a lot of technology. Star-power.com. We'll link you to both at intotomorrow.com. We're back with more from Las Vegas and our 21st year from CES. I'm Dave Graveline on Into Tomorrow, right here on the Advanced Media Network.